felters, and welcome. First off, thank you so much for all the entries for my 50k giveaway. This is the Q&A that we're going to do from all those questions. But there were 300, just under 300 on YouTube and about another 50 odd on Instagram. Some really interesting questions, some really unusual ones. So I've picked out a load and we're going to answer them, and then we're going to do the draw at the end. So let's just go into it. Sunny side up, congratulations on 50k followers. May you have many more. Thank you. What are your top 3 passions? I would probably say horses, needle felting, and obviously my family, but that is like a separate thing. But probably walking with the dogs. But definitely horses are up there, even though I'm not riding at the moment. I think that's another question someone asked me. But yeah, horses, felting and walking. James Yaz, wishing you so much more success here and everywhere. Thank you. Love all of your videos and content. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. What was the most expensive thing you've ever purchased? And I think probably most of you would know it's the needle felting machine. I'm just trying to think. It's definitely that. Yeah. I'm spending quite a lot of money now with the business, but it's not on any one thing. It's on lots of things. So things feel quite expensive at the moment, ordering like £200 worth of wool or 100 stickers and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I think the needle felting machine was about 130 odd. So that was quite a lot, and I don't use it as much as I thought I would, but I am going to start using it on 2D felts. Gloria Amy, congratulations on reaching 50k. I'm so very happy for you. It truly feels like we've been on this journey together. Lovely. What's one of the most important lessons you've learned from the past? Even when a felt doesn't go the way it should go, you will improve with each, and I will say this again and again, each felt you do, you will improve and get better on the next one. So you think you've not learned anything, but you have. You've learned how to do something differently each time. I would say another lesson I've learned from the past, not to do with needle felting, that I learned recently, someone said on a YouTube channel, was today matters. What you're doing today matters for your future. And I think that's a really, because you think, oh, you know, I'm going to sit down and make a little heart or a little, you know, it does matter. Everything matters towards your future. It all counts. Oh, this is similar to the passion. No, not really. Betty Angel Bella, what are your top 3 positive traits? I would say I am definitely hardworking, like self-motivated hardworking, like, because you can be hardworking at work, but I'm not at work now because I run this business for myself. So I'm definitely self-motivated. I'm quite tidy and I'm quite consistent. You know, the person that succeeds is the one that doesn't give up normally. If you just keep going, tweaking, changing things, looking at what you've done wrong, obviously, but the person that normally succeeds is the one that keeps going. This is Rosita Rosie. Congratulations. What is the best compliment you've ever received? And I'm assuming you mean towards needle felting, and that would be when I send somebody a picture of the felt I've created, like a horse or a dog, and they cry. I sent the Shetland pony I did, I'll put the picture up now. I sent the picture of the Shetland I'd created, and the lady said, I'm crying. And I was just like, obviously in a good way, but that's so lovely to know that you've created something that has moved somebody so much they're so happy with it that they are crying. So that to me is a compliment. Karen Madden, 50,000. I'm not surprised. You're amazing and an absolute godsend to me, and you make my new hobby so much better. I'm so rubbish though, lol. You're not, you're just practicing. That's all it is. My question is how to overcome the fear of even starting a project. True, because you start a project and you're at the start and you think, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. Sometimes if you have a little break and you come back to felting and you think, can I still make a horse? Can I still felt? You know, you have that sort of crisis of confidence. But I think if you're struggling to even start, then I would get something to follow, such as a PDF, a tutorial, a video. Free videos on YouTube, there's absolutely tons, and that's going to give you the confidence to follow something. And the only way you're going to get good is by practicing. There's a phrase or a quote that it used a swear word, but it said, you've got to make rubbish stuff to be able to make something good. So keep making rubbish stuff, because if you don't make enough rubbish stuff, you won't actually get to the point where you make something good. It's along those lines, but I can't quite use the words that it used. But it was interesting. You've got to make stuff. You've got to practice, practice, practice. And that's the only way, unless you're so talented, unless maybe you're an artist in a different way and you've got the eye or something and you can go straight in and you know how to do proportions and things like that. I think if you're just like me, I've never studied art or done anything. I've done crafty stuff. I used to make jewelry and I've done a tiny bit of sewing, but nothing amazing. But if you follow what other people have done, or you just keep practicing what you want to do, you will get better. And you've got to overcome that fear, because you have to make it. You don't know if you're going to be bad or not, but you actually have to make something. You won't learn by making nothing. And so if you're trying to overcome the fear, maybe just start with doing the head of that animal and make it into a little brooch or something like that. Start with something simple, simplify it right down, or make it smaller, not too small because you end up stabbing your fingers. Joyce Brunette, congratulations, well deserved. When you make animals, what is your preference to use for their eyes? I made a lion, and in the tutorial they used wool for the eyes. I am thinking of changing them to glass eyes. I wondered if you had a preference. I do. I've got a horse behind me. I'll put a picture up that I did a long time ago, and because the eyes were so big, I did them needle felted, and I really don't like them, and I really think he looks a little bit scary. Not glass eyes, plastic eyes are my preference, and you can get them in quite large sizes. So these, you can get quite big eyes if you need larger eyes for a larger project. You don't have to felt them. So personally, I think sometimes hares look quite good with felted eyes, and obviously 2D projects, they're going to be felted. So, but yeah, I prefer plastic. Abby Shoop, congratulations. Some people, thank you, say they enjoy needle felting toys, but I never consider needle felting toys because of the wire or small eyes. Do you just leave these out if it's going to be a toy? No, I don't make toys. I just can't go there, and I can't risk it, and it's not for me, and they're not for animals. Cats will just destroy it, dogs will destroy it, and children, there's just, some people do. If you know your children and if you trust them and they're of a certain age, then maybe, but I wouldn't. It's not for me to gamble with that side of things, because they could pull wool off and eat it. I mean, they can do that with a jumper, but it's a lot harder. So is there a reason why you enjoy felting horses, sheep and Highland figures? Horses are my passion. I love them. Sheep, I want some sheep. And Highland cows are just, I don't know, Highland cows are just adorable. I'm not sure why I love them so much, because I don't want a Highland cow because they're quite dangerous looking. Although we've got some in the fields here. I'm always videoing them. I do love them. But horses have always been my passion. When did you get the courage to turn a passion into a business? I wanted a business to work from home, and I was trying to find the right one, basically. So that's sort of why I ended up with felting in the end, because I was doing jewelry making, not brilliantly, and then I tried sewing, and I was okay. I could do some things, but not that good, and it's so time consuming. And then felting came along, and I was addicted. So I'm trying to get through these a bit quicker. No, this is a good name. Tai the Goat. Congratulations, so excited for you. My question would be, does the business side of your felting business get in the way of the art and craft of your felting? You seem to balance it much better than I could. I appreciate you sharing both sides of your channel. Thank you so much. Yes, it does get in the way. And I watch Catnip, who is a illustrator. She does stickers and all sorts of things. And she says literally she can spend between 5 and 10% of her time actually creating, and the rest of it is the business. So that's quite something. I would say I spend a lot more time felting. than 5 or 10%, because obviously I can't make a video unless I'm felting something. But the business side, I'm enjoying the mix at the moment of the kits, because it gives me a break from felting, because I've had this injury that I had a long time ago. It still hurts on and off a lot if I felt too much. And I wish, because someone asked a question about something you regret, and I wish I hadn't done so many commissions and taken on that many that I injured my muscles just here and in the shoulder at the back. So I like doing the kits because it gives me that break and that balance between the two. I do an awful lot of editing. I think that's a question later on. But sometimes I just need to felt. You know, you just have to sit down and felt, and I will let the videos slide a bit on YouTube. I'd love to do one a week, but it's not always going to happen. And the business comes first anyway, with posting out Etsy orders, and then it's Patreon, and then it's YouTube. And obviously my family come before all of that. So, and this is the same question. Karen Hainsworth, similar. I enjoy watching your videos. Thank you. My question is, how do you find time to fit everything in? I don't. I have to drop things every now and again. And I might talk about things on my channel that I want to do. I don't get time to do them. I would love to have done my horse course, the whole horse, by now. I'm not quite ready for it. I nearly am. But this hair course, I should have done this months ago. I mean, I was ready for it months ago, but I just can't fit everything in. So things have to be dropped every now and again. Do you sometimes make something to sell and find that you just can't bear to part with it? That's from Susan Brown. Yes, absolutely. And what happens normally when it's like that, there's a couple of items up there. Like my courses now, I'm going to keep the items that I've made because they're examples of my courses. And then I don't have to, if I sell them, spend time making them up again if I'm going to go to something like Yarndale, where I want people to see some of my creations. So I've committed to myself that I'm going to keep those items. But I did make, and Sharma, sorry, I did make a Herdwick sheep recently, and he's absolutely beautiful, and I had him for about 6 months, and then I was ready to sell him, and luckily he went to somebody absolutely lovely, Sharma, one of my patrons. So I'm so happy about that because he was one of my favorites. But yes, I do make things, and if I make things I really like that, I will keep them for a bit until I'm ready to sell them. I might have moved on and made something else that I'm happy to keep. So you will get to a point where you think, okay, I'm ready to sell that one now. This is interesting. This is Jana or Jana Newham. She said, thank you, Philippa. I finally have a hobby. My question is, what lovely little creation gave you your first ever sale? And that's interesting because I get a lot of people ask what my first ever creation was that I made. So this was the first creation I ever made from a kit. And it contained 3 dogs, and I made this dog. I used the eyes on something else, so I've pulled them out. I showed this all recently on Instagram because I find it quite overwhelming to see everyone's perfect works on Instagram sometimes, and I think it's okay, people, you know, we all started from the same space. I just maybe have practiced a bit more than you, that's all. But this was my first dog, so he's got loads of lines on him, loads of squiggles. It is sort of a roving type merino wool. And then this horse head, which again, he's got loads of join marks, but this was the first one that really got my passion going for it. And then look, scary little lamb. I hope it's focusing. That is very scary. But the first item I ever created to sell is very similar to this Herdwick here. So I made this Herdwick with a lamb, so I'll put the photo up. But it was the Herdwicks and the little sheep were the first items I started to sell. And then the thing with, I always say, if you show your friends, you start making things, you show your friends and family and they go, oh, can I have one of those? I'd really like one of those, thank you. Yeah, I'd get one for my friend. That would be really, really cool. If they're starting to want the things that you've made, I think you're onto a winner with what you're making and you could possibly sell it. Because I think family can be quite, yes, some people will be very like, oh, that's lovely, and they don't, maybe it's not, but if they want it and if they want it for somebody, and you know, and that's how it develops. And then just posting something on a Facebook group And then somebody might say, oh, do you sell those? And then, that's how it developed. But yeah, so the sheep were my first ever sort of sales, which really surprised me because they weren't that good, but they are cute. They are quite sweet. Madeline Ralston. Hi Philippa, I'm new to your channel and I'm so happy to have found you. It's lovely to have you here. My question is, how do you develop your own personal needle felting style? I'm not sure how to learn without copying others. Thanks so much. So yeah, that's another interesting one, because if you're making something for yourself, you can copy what someone has done. You can even post it. It's great if you reference that person. Most of my felts, especially my tutorials, I'm happy for you to sell, not as a workshop or the actual teaching side of it or turning it into a kit, but the actual items I'm happy for you to sell. But that's quite unusual amongst felters. There's not many people that are happy for you to do that. So if you were to follow like the Lady Moth and make something that she had, I don't think you're allowed to sell those creations. So you have to check with the person who created it. But I think you can, if you're just making it for yourself, that's absolutely fine and it's not a problem. But it's just time will come with sort of trying to develop something that you like. I would say go to Pinterest, have a look at items in other styles such as statues, crochet, and then you can start to develop, like little Mr. Hedgehog. I'll put a picture up here. That was developed through looking at other animals that were hedgehogs, not hedgehogs, other animals that had mushroom hats and things like that, and how could I develop it. So it is about taking a lot of images in and then trying to work and make your own image, I think, if you're looking to sell your items. But yeah, it's tricky. I worry about copying people all the time. I worry about creating something, putting it up, and then someone going, that's exactly like mine. And I'll be going, I hadn't, if you created something without even seeing that person's item, that's what I worry about. Janet Robshaw, this is great. Hi Philippa, question, which superhero are you most like, Jan? I don't know. I think if there was a superhero for being neat and tidy, that would probably be me. I don't like cleaning. I'm fine with being neat and tidy, although this room's a mess, which is why I struggle. When my room is a mess, I struggle to be able to create. I find it really, really difficult. But obviously I'd love to have been Black Widow, but I'm nowhere near that. She's just great. But anyway, yeah, a super neat and tidy superhero. Josh Wilcox, congratulations. How many times have you had to restart a project, and what do you do with the failed projects? I guess, would I say I restart projects? I don't restart. I think I continue. And I think with needle felting, that's the good thing, is that you can change it as you go. But I do have failed projects that I've done and are awful. And I've got a couple of things, I just put them away until I'm ready to look at them again. But I probably had about 3 or 4 items that were just bugging me, and in the end I threw them away, or reused some of the wool and threw the rest of it away, because they were just dragging me down and I wasn't going to be able to deal with them in my head, and they kind of annoyed me. Some things like the unicorn that I've just done recently, I'll put up a picture, that was on the shelf for about 7 or 8 months just as the base, and I just couldn't do it. It sounds really odd, and now I'm really pleased. I'm glad I waited. Denise Nelson, congratulations on this accomplishment. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, from techniques to marketing and all in between. Love your videos. I recently found your video on preparation for shows. At the moment, I'm interested in your branding, marketing, presentation and packaging tips. My question is, what are your tips for the startup business essentials such as logo cards, professional packaging, etc.? So we talked about this recently. I mean, I use Vistaprint. I use Moo for my cards, which I found very good. But I have found Vistaprint to be absolutely brilliant. And especially if there were any mistakes, they're very good at correcting them. It's interesting because I just picked a colour. I got a logo from a logo maker, and then with YouTube I went to Fiverr, Fiverr, and I got the intro made. So it was all very gradual, Very simple, but I definitely have a colour for my brand and the logo and everything like that. And I try to carry that across. So just make sure you choose a colour or colours in the beginning that you're happy with and that you're going to keep. And then there are places you can go to help you with all of those items. Canva is what I use to design things, and that is just a learning curve. You just gradually learn how to do things bit by bit. Nothing happens overnight. You may look at me and think I have a business. I do have a small business, but it's taken me nearly 3 years to get here. And I was making jewelry and selling it on Etsy beforehand, not majorly, you know, not doing brilliantly. I didn't really have a good brand for that, but everything takes time. You look at all these other businesses like Catnip, Emily Harvey Art, some of those, they've been doing it for a while. It hasn't just happened. Coco Natasha, her business is, you know, really good. But again, I think she's been doing it about 6 or 7 years. So give yourself grace and time to develop these things. Nothing happens overnight. My God, I've got so many questions. I'll be quick. Marty Thew, being a YouTuber and a felter, which do you have to spend more time doing, felting or making and editing videos? Probably making and editing videos, actually, unfortunately. Debbie Wimshurst, can you use PVA glue to harden wool for claws' ears? Yes, absolutely. Dilute it down. One of the ladies on my Patreon does this a lot. Pat from Big Hugs Handmade. And also there's a video gone up recently for a bear paw, and the lady that was doing that, I wonder, I'll try and link it in the description below. She brushes over some PVA water glue mix to make the paws fur look really good. Dawn, let's try and read this. Hang on. My question is, will there ever be a time when I feel as though I'm no longer a beginner? I get so happily lost when I'm felting, but I still feel like I'm nowhere close to sharing what I do, and I'm not sure if it's being an artist kind of thing where you're never quite satisfied with the work and can see every tiny mistake. I love it, even if I'm not good, but I truly want to be good. Actually, great would be better. Have you ever felt this way? Do you get over it at some point? I feel that way all the time. I'm doing a hair course and I still look at my hair, and I'll show you, hang on. So I've just created one part of the hair course and I'm doing another hair, and I still look at him and I think, is it good enough? Is he good enough? I think as artists, you constantly question everything you do. I think you don't ever get over it. And it is, I don't think I'm that good at felting a lot of the time. And I constantly need to keep learning. So I think it's really important to keep learning. So I don't think you get over it. But I think you just keep working through it. And then every now and again you create something and you think, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I like that. And I talked to my daughter about this because with her pictures, my daughter does really good drawings, and she looks at them still and says they're not very good, and I think they're amazing. So I don't think you ever think your work's brilliant, but you just keep learning and keep improving. Cassandra Bumpus, congratulations on the exciting milestone. Hi Cassandra. If I'm interested in teaching a class, what would you say are the most important first steps towards preparing for it and planning a class? Getting people to practice what you're going to teach for the day so that you can see whether the timescales are going to work and whether it's easy enough for beginners. I think probably if we've been felting a while, we really underestimate the very beginning, you know, what you're learning and what you're taking in and how long it might take you to felt something to a degree of firmness. Not really firm, but definitely beginners need fluffier felts. And so I would say the most important thing is to practice what you want to teach on some people within your family or friends group. And then you will be so much better prepared for when the actual day comes, because you will have had the experience of going all the way through and knowing that it's going to fit in the time frame. But good luck. Kathy Little, congratulations. My question is, how did you learn to make and use a YouTube channel? Seems like such a huge learning curve. Yeah, it was, but I learned how to video and do everything for a YouTube channel from YouTube. So it's all out there. There's so much help out there. It's amazing. But that's how I learn, and time. And I think there's the ratio of, there's sort of a thing of, you start YouTube and you're really excited and you don't know anything. And then you get to a point where you're still really excited, but you realise how much you don't know. Because you go in, I can't remember what what's the chap, how he calls it, but you go in not knowing anything, and then after a while you realise how much you don't know, and then you're like, oh my God, and lots of people give up at that stage. So, and then you keep going and keep going. It is interesting. Iona Montera. Congratulations, Philippa. I'm a huge horse lover, and I see from your website that you have worked with horses for most of your life. My question is, do you still work with horses? I'm afraid I don't at the moment. I was riding and exercising a friend's horse about a year ago, but unfortunately, even going to exercise that horse and school it, because I love sort of doing flat work and schooling, 2 or 3 times a week was taking up too much time. So I had to drop it. But at some point I will own my own horse in the future, and I would obviously video it and share it for the channel, but it won't be for a short while because I'm doing a lot with the kids and the dogs and everything, and we can't afford it right now anyway. But in the future, at some point, I would love to have a horse again. But yes, I worked with horses for most of my life. Kept me very busy. Bex, congratulations, and very well deserved, as you have inspired and helped so many people. Thank you. That's really, really kind of you. My question is to you: are there any animals that you avoid making, and why? Yes. I'm rubbish at dogs, cats. I made a koala for a friend once, and I just thought, I can't do this animal. Yeah, there's so many animals I can't do, honestly. I'd like to do a giraffe. That's one coming up next. Not next, but at some point in the future. But yeah, there's lots of animals I can't do, you know, and that's the reason why I end up doing my favourites, and I have to push myself out of my comfort zone sometimes. Bree Reed, what's the thing you felted that you love the most? Probably Aries the Andalusian, which I showed you earlier, but because I worked out a way in which I could teach that to people, and I really like the look of her as well. So that was probably my most favourite felt. Annabelle, or Belle, hi. Huge congratulations, Pippa. I'm almost into my 2nd year needle felting, and your work is amazing. My question is, when you started needle felting, was there as many needle felting tutorials and Facebook pages to follow as there are now? No. And that was the reason I started, because I wanted to learn about needle felting, but in a fast, quick way. I didn't want a video that was an hour long, and I found some of the videos, they seemed to be from quite far away, or the recording wasn't that good. And I thought, you know, I would like to see these videos for people when they start, and that's why I started, basically. And Facebook groups, there were some. I think there were Facebook groups, but there's obviously a lot more now. And the tutorials on YouTube are just amazing. There's some really good quality tutorials coming out now. Chloe, let me just find the question. Have you ever created something that you were surprised you sold? Yes, absolutely. But I learnt this when I used to, I worked for a couple of jewellery companies, and there were some pieces of jewellery that were hideous to me, but they would sell. And there you just have to recognise that everybody has different tastes. So do not assume that just because you've made something and you don't like it, it won't sell. So yes, I have made things and I have thought, and do you know what? I price things that I don't like and that I'm not proud of quite low just to get rid of them. But people still love them and appreciate them. So that's really good. Diana Hain, congratulations and well deserved. Thank you. My question has to be with conserving felted items. Do you use any products such as lavender or other essential oils to protect against moths making holes in your lovely sculptures? Yes, I do. I have some cedar wood balls that I have on a little, let me get them. So these are cedar wood balls, and I have those sort of dotted around the place. And I also have a lavender spray that I spray every now and again. And I do know that some people can put lavender just inside their felted items. Touch wood, I've never had trouble with that, but it depends on the country and the temperatures and the weather and what's local to you, what sort of bugs are local to you, I think. So yes, definitely I do. Let's have a sip of tea. I'll be talking. That's Supergirl Gaming. This is a nice question. Well done on the subs, much deserved. What is your dream project? The one you'd love to do no matter how much wool, sweat and tears it would take. And I do know what it is because I still want to do it. I would like to make a life-size Shetland pony. I would love to have him in my office. He wouldn't fit, but that's what I'd like to do. And then it would just be really cute and sweet, and it could just come around with me to shows. If you follow Needlebugs, they've done a really big Highland cow and a sheep. So yeah, I would like to do a life-size Shetland pony, regardless of how much wool it would use up. So, right, a couple more. Grandma's Footsteps. Hi, Wendy. Brilliant. Here's to the next 50,000. I wish. My question is, do you ever have days where you just don't want to do it? And yes, I do. And you know, when it's like that, I do take the day off, kind of. I always end up doing something to do with the business because you kind of have to post an order or you have to do certain things. But sometimes I just need to stop and not felt. It's not often I don't felt, and I pretty much, this is Sunday and I'm in my office. I do come in most days, and I haven't had burnout completely yet, but sometimes I've got to the point where I just have to stop, like doing YouTube videos for like 2 weeks, and my channel hasn't suffered. I try not to leave it longer than that, but yeah, it happens. Lyra, hi. Lyra Phoenix, congratulations, it is well deserved. There are so many wonderful feel-good factors about needle felting, the feel of the wool, the meditative, relaxing process, the achievement of the end result. What do you think makes it so addictive for you? And you're quite right, because it is addictive, it's therapeutic. There's a lot of people that say it calms them down. There's a lot of people, it's basically you get into the zone, and if you're not disturbed, then you can just completely, time can fly. Yes, knitting is like that and crochet is like that, but for me, knitting and crochet, they were lovely, but I had to count stitches. I would lose a stitch, I couldn't correct it, I had to concentrate on what I was doing far too much. Whereas with needle felting, there's no numbers, and it's just a feel, and it's not messy like sculpting with pottery. So yes, it's very addictive. And sometimes if I haven't felted for a bit, I realise when I go back and felt how lovely it is. It's like if you haven't been horse riding for a bit and then you go out for a ride, you realise how relaxing and all-encompassing it is. So yeah, I think it's that getting into the zone thing that is why it's so lovely. All creation embroidery. My question is, how do you avoid getting sore when felting? I'm dealing with pain in my wrists, neck and back. Thank you. Yes, thank you. This happens. It's really weird because when it first happened, I was like, but I'm only sitting. How can I be getting a sore shoulder? So it's about not doing too much. And when it does hit, stopping straight away and looking after yourself. I am currently seeing a massage therapist, and it's not comfy massage. It's really painful. But yeah, it's about stopping when you get that pain and taking the breaks and then restarting. It's all about building it up. I only needle felt at a table. I sit up. I have I put ice pack on my wrists or hot water bottle. I sometimes wear, it's not often, it sounds like it's really bad, but sometimes I wear a support brace at night for my wrists, which really help. Actually, they feel better the next day. But it's all about good posture. I've just got one of those painful mats that you lie on, and that gives quite good instant relief sort of on the back area, but it's not really a long-term thing, but it's, yeah, really good. So it's about looking after yourself, really, unfortunately. And then honeymoon, last question, what makes you happy? I think that's a really sweet question, thank you. But I was going to say not being interrupted when I'm felting, because I love my family, but sometimes I don't get long enough to be able to felt. Yeah, when I went on my horse course, we had 2 days of 7 or 8 hours felting, and actually it was bliss. And I thought, my goodness, imagine if I could do this every day, spend 7 or 8 hours working and felting. Yeah, that would be good. That would be a dream. But obviously I love my family very much and they come first. They always do. Right. So let's get over to the draw. Here we are. I'll show you the draw. So here we are, press start. Here's the names going through. And the winner is Denise. And they go 334 people in total. And you can see I did the draw today. Well done, Denise. So that's brilliant. Denise knew. So if you can contact me, feltsbyphilippa@gmail.com is the best one, or on Instagram. And I'm sure there won't be an issue with anyone else contacting me instead, pretending to be you. I didn't really think that through. But yes, if you contact me and we can sort out your prize. So well done. And thank you, everybody, for your questions and your endless, I say, compassion and support and just positivity. Really just so lovely of you. So thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm going to try and answer some of the other questions in my studio vlog, or as I'm sort of talking to you guys at any point in time. And yeah, thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.